Alright, in this first video, I'm not going to show any code. I'm just going to show the first page for checklist, so it's just the game features. So as you can tell right now, the blaster for its movement, it can move on its own with the AI. And if I go and click one, then I can control it using the keyboard. I only can fire one bullet at a time. And then whenever it's destroyed, I can shoot another one. The mushrooms take 4 hits, and every time they get hit, they change their sprite. The scorpions go and change them from regular to poison. I'll skip the scorpion for right now. For the centipede, you see that they're doing their smooth turn like they're supposed to. And let's see, I'll go and destroy one really quick. And that they split like they're supposed to. Then once they get all the way down to the bottom, which they are now, they go back up, and they both spawn a new head. And they stay in the player area. And now, let me add a scorpion in here really quick. Alright. Get rid of some of these guys. Alright, so the scorpion goes and changes the mushrooms from regular to poison. And their sprites change also. And if we can get this set up correctly, which we might be able to, no. We'll keep an eye on it because I need to show that when the centipede collides with the poison mushroom that it will go all the way down to the bottom of the screen. As you can tell, the spiders will go and eat the mushrooms like they're supposed to. Alright, and there's our flea that spawns, and then when it gets shot, it goes faster and it stops spawning mushrooms. And we'll see if we can show this. Yeah, we will. So for this head on the right, it goes all the way down to the bottom now, because of the poison mushroom. And I just died, so then everything just ended. Then we can go back. Now for the mushroom field. So the mushroom field, I have 3 collections. The first one is just the objects to put them all in, and that's when you're using the spawn mushrooms in the very beginning of a wave, that they'll go and spawn them and they get put in here. Then whenever they get damaged, and they get put it into the wounded array, and then when we need to regenerate them, we use that wounded array to regenerate, so then we're not going through the whole field again. It'll go through it once and know what's wounded, and then just go through that. And then if we go to saved, so then saved mushrooms, I have a save field, so then when you're switching players or going into, basically switching players or going from player to AI or going to the new wave, that it saves it. It saves the field, so then if you go to player 2, go back to player 1, it still knows the field, and I delete once I save the mushrooms in this array, I delete the field, so then they're not always drawing, and it's a little bit better. I mean, it doesn't really change that much for us, but new mushrooms. So I showed how I spawn mushrooms up here, and this spawns in the very beginning of the wave. Then also we have spawn single mushroom, which is specifically for the flea. So then the flea can spawn a mushroom when needed. And then this field also interacts with the critters, specifically the flea. Because then when there's a certain amount of mushrooms in the player area, when it goes down to a certain amount that is given to it by the text file, it spawns a flea. And depending on what wave it is, you set the files and you'll send it to the flea spawner. And then I was already showing the regeneration. So I set an alarm, and then it'll set up an explosion. And because they're already in their own array and they're being created, I don't have to technically reset the health because the sprite already shows it. But I go and do that, and then once it goes through, I set it to 0, so then it doesn't go through it again. I basically just go through the array until it's 0, and then every 2 you set up the points for the wounded, and it just keeps going through the alarm. And then we have glyph, spawn glyph space. So this is specifically for the high scores, that it will go, and for the AI, if glyphs are needed, like in the beginning here, if glyphs are needed for the high scores and all that stuff, it will make a blank space. So then the centipedes won't go and fire through it, or won't hit in. It'll be blocked like it's a real mushroom.